Live from Vienna, Austria, it's Saturday morning with Sister Vassa and Rob.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to our show. I'm Sister Vassa.
And I'm Rob.
And we are happy to tell you, you heard it here first, that this is the end of the fourth week of Lent. So we've made it to the middle of Lent, those of us on the Orthodox Church's liturgical calendar. And this is the final of the 3 Memorial Saturdays today, my friends. And tomorrow we will have the Sunday of St. John of the Ladder, also known as St. John Climacus, who is the author of the Ladder of Divine Ascent. So the celebration tomorrow and at tonight's vigil for this Sunday of Lent is actually in honor of his ascetical work. And we are called on this Sunday, the purpose of having this Sunday in honor of St. John of the Ladder is to draw our attention to the whole discipline of contemplating the virtues and being aware of and understanding also the main vices on the cross-carrying journey. Now, his book, The Ladder of Divine Ascent, is actually intended for monastics, for a monastic community, and so it presumes the context of a monastic community. So in that sense, for lay people, some of the descriptions of the realization of certain Christian virtues might not be the journey presented to many of us who do not live in monasteries on the journey of our specific vocations. So what to say about this when we're called on this Sunday to think about this work, the Ladder of Divine Ascent, which, by the way, is set up in chapters that are entitled according to steps. So it's step 1 to 30. It's a 30-step program, you could say, in a certain sense, rather than a 12-step program that St. John presents us with. And firstly, he's going through a series of virtues, and he discusses things like renunciation of the world, something very relevant to the monastic vocation, like obedience, but also other virtues. And he goes on to discuss certain vices and pitfalls of the cross-carrying journey, like resentments and like lying or gluttony and so on. So what I'd like to share on this topic, although we do have a Coffee with Sister Vassa video about this Sunday of St. John of the Ladder, so check that out here on YouTube. Just search for St. John Climacus or St. John of the Ladder together with Coffee with Sister Vassa, and you will find that video. I don't want to be repetitive. However, I would like to add to the thoughts I offer there that this whole business of actually contemplating certain virtues and also certain vices as far as understanding them is something we're called to do and experience in practice, in the sense that we gain wisdom and understanding about what is going on with us when we are slipping into a sinful pattern and embracing a certain spirit that is unhealthy for us. And the simplest way that we've been called to do this throughout Lent thus far is by internalizing, as we recite the Lenten prayer of St. Ephrem, which lists certain vices and also virtues that we are then called to think about. So this is in case somebody out there doesn't know, the Lenten prayer of St. Ephrem, which I've also been discussing in my daily reflections. If you follow those, you can follow, by the way, and get via email every day my daily reflections on scripture and also on certain liturgical texts like this one. So let me just read to you the prayer of St. Ephrem. O Lord and Master of my life, give me not the spirit of idleness, despondency, love of power, and idle talk, but grant me, your servant, the spirit of whole-mindedness, humility, patience, and love. Yes, Lord and King, grant me to see my own transgressions, and not to judge my brother, for you are blessed unto the ages of ages. Amen. So you see, these specific vices that are mentioned first and foremost in this prayer, for example, idleness and despondency, in our context, say not in the context of St. John Climacus, where he was in a monastic community on Sinai, away from a big city, and at a very different time from ours, we might, in practice, be experiencing just how much and in which ways something like idleness and despondency really visits us in our typical day. Think about, in our postmodern and globalized world, how much we are often pulled into, say, surfing the internet from idleness, because there is so much entertainment, one could say, and distraction available to us, and despondency, which St. John of the Ladder says, he compares it to the ascetic in his hut somewhere in the wilderness looking out the window. That means that despondency calls us perhaps to look into the computer screen or to a different site from the one where we should be working, say sitting in our cubicles at work, yes? Or despondency draws us away from those in our immediate surroundings, say our own spouse, our own children, say in a midlife crisis. Why does somebody pick up and go, and perhaps buy a red Camaro?
Yeah.
Is that what they do these days? Yeah. I don't know. But
that's what I'm going to do.
That's what you're going to do? Maybe it's too early for that, right?
I have it on layaway right now. Red Camaro.
You've got the red Camaro.
Yeah.
So we see the same phenomenon actually happening in the parable of the prodigal son, when the youngest son of the father in the parable just gets up, asks for his inheritance, and goes off to a strange land far away. He just wants to be elsewhere, even though he has the perfect life, an abundance of everything in his father's house, but he just gets restless. This is despondency, but I think that in our day it takes on its own sort of shape, and I think that rarely does a day pass, if any day indeed passes, when we are not visited by these specific spirits. So they are first and foremost mentioned in this prayer, and I think that as far as having an appropriate kind of literature for lay people to practice asceticism in the sense of discipline, daily discipline, it is necessary to be coming up with writings. Those of us who live in cities and lead a life of financial responsibilities and insecurities, and of a lot of freedom in the sense of not being attached, say, in the way a monastic is in the wilderness, say, to a tight-knit community with like-minded people all around. We, in our globalized world, are surrounded by great diversity, both online and offline, of people of various walks of life, opinions, faiths, or of no faith. And so for us to walk the cross-carrying journey and Orthodox faith does present us with something that is not well scripted, I would say. There's no exact script that we will find. We will find principles, certainly, that are ageless in a text like The Ladder of Divine Ascent by St. John Climacus, and much life-giving and useful truths. However, I just want to say that there is not an exact script as to how to deal with our specific situations in a world of multicultural realities with which we are confronted every single day, both online and offline. And in a way, I think that no other generation has ever been confronted with, specifically in our way. So that's why contemplating, internalizing, also writing about the various virtues and vices in our context is something particularly important for us, that we develop ascetical disciplines. And don't freak out about the word ascetical. It simply means training or discipline. So with our food choices, now we have the instrument of the tradition of our fasting rules according to our Typicon's tradition of Lent. We also have challenges today in a specific way with our dietary concerns. Obesity is a big problem in our parts of the world where food is abundant. Glory be to God. However, we find that sooner or later in life that we are faced with coming to grips with our daily food discipline. Yes, with our times of going to sleep, of prayer. All of this is asceticism, also necessary in the life of a layperson, not in the same way that it is practiced in a monastic community. So we've been discussing these things on our twice-weekly audio podcast.
Yes.
We've been going step by step through Lent, which helps us with setting certain boundaries. It moves the goalposts, so to say, actually, and provides us with an extra intensive exercise in what is called setting boundaries. And we actually had a special podcast this week dedicated to an issue about which I received a question via email, yes, from one of our listeners who was asking, how does one deal with a relationship that may be becoming a codependency? And so, see, these are modern day terms, even though there are different names for this in the ascetical literature of our tradition. However, it is helpful in today's language to contemplate these things and to pick up tools which we have and see them in our language, and then they make sense to us. Oh, okay, Lent is a help in this exercise of setting boundaries. Because boundary setting is that tool, actually, in modern day psychology that will always be suggested as a way to both get out of a codependency and to avoid slipping into one. It's a big problem for many people. So we talked a lot about that in the audio podcast, but also in connection with the progression of Lent and this past week, which was a week of the veneration of the cross. And then I failed to mention, but the upcoming week, the 5th week of Lent, which for us is the 5th week, but for people on the Western calendar, they are already nearing Palm Sunday. The week after the next one. However, we will have the 5th week of Lent, which is very eventful in that we have not 2, but 3 liturgies of the pre-sanctified gifts. Not only Wednesday and Friday as usual, but Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Why? Because Thursday is a special day, because at the morning service of Matins, but in many of our parishes served on Wednesday evening, the great canon of St. Andrew of Crete will be read completely. So it is a very long service, and that great canon will be chanted in our churches. So there's also a celebration of a special Lenten liturgy of pre-sanctified gifts on Thursday. And then next Saturday is, of course, the Saturday dedicated to the Mother of God, to the Akathist hymn dedicated to the Mother of God, and immediately followed by the Sunday of St. Mary of Egypt. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know about that. You heard it here first, what is coming up in the church calendar. So those are just a few words about what we've been doing. So I wanted also to invite everybody, as usual.
Yes.
We want to make a pitch for our audio podcasts. In case you haven't been watching this very popular show.
Indeed.
Almost everyone has.
Yes.
So if you haven't, then you're like the only one. Right?
But we're happy you finally caught on.
Better late than never.
Exactly.
So we've been telling people that the audio podcast you can sign up for very easily. Just go to this link that should be appearing here now.
Yep.
You think it's there?
I think it's there. And you can click on it in the description underneath this video.
Right. There's a description under the video, and you can click on that link. So it's www.patreon.com/Sister Vassa. Slash Sister Vassa, but I
Yeah.
think the slash is actually this way, right?
Slash Sister Vassa.
Don't
Don't karate chop your computer.
Okay,
It's just
that's enough of this slash Sister
Okay,
Vassa talk.
sorry.
We've had stabbings in Vienna.
That's true.
So this is getting, I think Rob is traumatized by this.
Yes.
And we don't want him to slip into certain tendencies he had in his murky past. I don't know if it's true, but it's sort of the word on the street. And don't get embarrassed, Rob, because, you know, I always remind you that there's no judgment here. We're here to help you and to help you work through any of those issues. Okay, I just don't want you talking about slashing people. All right, that's all I wanted to say. So, everybody, check it out, sign up, and be accompanied,
Yes.
and share with us the experience of Lent. We're explaining step by step every moment of the Lenten journey, and we're also getting interesting questions that we discuss all about this topic of the season of spiritual and physical fitness that is Lent. It's like a spring cleaning of all of us. So join the fun. It's fun, hopefully inspiring, motivational, and informative.
And informative.
That was at the tip of your tongue.
Yes.
Informative wasn't a word that entered his mind, but
but it is indeed quite informative. And it's only $5 a month for 2 episodes a week.
And you can always unsubscribe,
Right.
Okay? So don't be a why person, be a why not person.
Exactly.
And it supports our online mission, okay? There's nothing like it. We work every day to bring you contents, motivational contents,
Yes.
about Orthodox faith, and we have people of different Christian faiths following our work.
It's really
so
cool.
Join the fun. Don't miss out. Zillions of people are doing it, okay? Try out the audio podcasts. There's also an ongoing course on the Divine Liturgy with a video on Divine Liturgy also being analyzed step by step, discussed, explained, not in a boring way, hopefully, also not in a watered down way. That is available. Now and then a new liturgy video comes out in this course, and that is available to bonus subscribers in addition to the audio podcast. Okay? Try it out, everybody. So I'm going to hand it over now to Rob, who has his award-winning segment coming up now. He's going to review what's been in the news this week. So here's What's in the News with Dr. Rob.
This week in the news. In local news, another stabbing. This time, a 26-year-old man, Austrian man, attacked a soldier outside the Iranian ambassador's residence here in Vienna. The soldier was forced to shoot the attacker dead after first using his pepper spray. The soldier was protected by a stab-proof vest, but still suffered minor injuries. The motivation of the attacker is not yet known, nor has his identity been revealed yet.
Except we know that he's Austrian.
Right.
That's crazy, Rob. It seems like nothing ever happens here in Vienna, Austria. However, we seem lately to have all these stabbings. Last week it was an Afghan man stabbing an Austrian family, right? This week it's an Austrian man stabbing the guard of the Iranian ambassador. Is this all that happens here? Stabbings?
It's not the only thing.
No? What else is happening?
We have wild boars running rampant through the streets of Vienna.
Oh, well, that's a lot better. I'm glad to hear some good news.
Yes, indeed.
I suppose.
Well, to make it better, it's not actually through downtown Vienna. It's in a district that is on the outskirts of Vienna called Donaustadt. And when I say rampant, I mean that the boars are generally stressing people out and ruining some gardens.
I've seen a few boars, but not wild boars lately.
Fair enough. These boars are being collected and taken to a reserve, the Tiergarten in Wienerwald, where they can run wild and free.
They're not being stabbed.
Nope. No more stabbings.
That's a relief.
Yes.
We're very humane when it comes to the boars.
Yes.
Right? We don't want them getting hurt.
Indeed.
All right, what else do you have for us, Rob?
In science news, last Wednesday, March 14th, award-winning physicist, cosmologist, and author Stephen Hawking died.
Oh, he died indeed.
Yes.
But that's the new pre-Paschal greeting. We say Christ is risen.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a really bad joke. Because, see, we say Christ is risen, he is risen indeed.
Yes.
We can say Stephen Hawking
Has died.
He has died indeed.
At the age of 76.
I don't know if they'll forgive me that inappropriate joke. All right, go on, Rob.
He was considered a leading voice in science, especially in understanding black holes and research related to figuring out the universe. He was also known in the scientific community for waging bets with fellow scientists and losing them. You should Google that. It's a pretty funny list. He's also known as a very outspoken atheist.
Oh, yes. He was very outspoken in the last years.
Yeah.
I mean, before that, it seemed a bit ambivalent as to whether he's agnostic or an atheist, but then it was quite clear, and he said it very clearly, that he is an atheist. I was thinking about this because hearing the news that he died brought to memory some of his statements. For example, he said, "Because there is a law such as gravity," this is in his book, The Grand Design, "the universe can and will create itself from nothing. Spontaneous creation is the reason there is something rather than nothing, why the universe exists, why we exist." So, this is an absurd statement on several levels. He uses the word create, which is a no-no for a strict atheist, first of all. And then common sense, or any knowledge of the way philosophical discourse happens, says that if something possessed the ability to create itself from nothing, then that something couldn't have been nothing, right?
Right.
It was something. So that's already problematic. And then when he says the Big Bang was the result of the inevitable laws of physics and did not need God to spark the creation of the universe, he's talking about laws here. And laws presume a lawgiver. So to me, it's a reminder that as ingenious as he was in the natural sciences, it's annoying when someone who is an expert in the natural sciences dabbles in questions of theology and what we could call metaphysics, right? These are different disciplines and different areas of human interest and human experience. Just like it's annoying, I think, when theologians, without a sufficient knowledge and without expertise in the natural sciences, somehow pretend to be experts in questions of the natural sciences. And here at Coffee Headquarters, we don't see the two disciplines as being in confrontation with one another. However, when they do trespass in those things that they are not experts in, then I find a lot of confusion occurs. Another thing that Stephen Hawking said, in a way that was also very disparaging, as he sometimes was toward people of faith, asking what came before the Big Bang is meaningless, because there is no notion of time available to refer to. But that is indeed a question. There had to be an immovable mover who put things in motion, like the Big Bang. This was at the Pontifical Academy of Sciences in 2016. Anyway, so he's thinking that he's providing us with an answer, saying, because there is no notion of time available to refer to, when asking what came before the Big Bang. Well, for a person of faith, there is a notion to refer to. There is a being to refer to. That's not time. It is God, who is timeless and the creator of time. The problem isn't that we need a notion of time available in order to ask about before, because the notion and experience of God speaks to that question. Whereas the limited notions of Stephen Hawking's mind are not our only pool, so to say, to draw from to answer these questions. You see, he would often say that it is human reason that is eventually going to be able to explain everything. But I think that actually it is a crisis of faith in human reason, or the human ability to reason, that is actually being given voice to in such great doubts of any kind of ability to know God, because that was a previous phase of his. I think that the generations upon generations of witnesses to an experience of God attest to some kind of human relationship with a higher being. So to doubt that experience also amongst very talented and very highly intelligent people of past generations, of past millennia, the great artists, there are great thinkers and philosophers and just heroes of entire nations who had faith, yes. There are great figures of history like St. Paul. To doubt these people, that they were simply crazy, and the people who followed them and listened to them and learned from them about God's revelation, the great people like Moses going back, that is to doubt the human capacity to reason. Because you say just everybody was crazy. So if you accept that, then you're really putting into doubt how much we're capable of being witnesses to any kind of truth. So there's an ironic twist to this,
Yeah.
I think, that needs to be addressed. But I'm rambling on now, Rob. Do you have anything more pleasant for us?
I do indeed. In royal news, Meghan Markle has been spotted around town sporting a very interesting piece of jewelry. The diamond bracelet with a cross is reportedly a baptism gift from her recent baptism into the Church of England on March 6th. She was baptized by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, at the Chapel Royal at St. James Palace in London last Tuesday. The service included holy water from the River Jordan from the private royal family font and poured on Markle's head. Miss Markle's husband-to-be, Prince Harry, and His Royal Highness Prince Charles and his wife Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, were there in attendance, though Prince William and Queen Elizabeth were not. The secret baptism was followed immediately by Meghan Markle's confirmation, which means that she will be able to approach Holy Communion with her future husband, Prince Harry. She had not been baptized as a child, and her parents were of mixed religious heritage.
Right. I read somewhere that her father actually was Episcopalian, and her mother was some brand of Protestant. I hope that wasn't insulting to Protestants, but I did not find out which denomination she belonged to. All right. Anyway, that's pleasant news.
Yeah.
Good for Meghan Markle.
Yes. Congratulations. Last Tuesday, Joy Behar apologized for mocking Vice President Mike Pence's Christian faith.
Wait, Joy Behar of The View.
Of The View, yes.
In case somebody doesn't know.
Yes. Of all the Joy Behars out there.
Of all those Joy Behars.
Yes.
Don't want you to be confused.
Yes. She apologized after a month of being accused of slander and anti-Christian bigotry. Yeah.
Not only accused, she was...
Right.
I like Joy Behar, but really, that was not very classy at all.
Mm-hmm. In her apology, her public apology on an episode of The View, she said, "I think Vice President Pence is right. I was raised to respect everyone's religious faith, and I fell short of that." This is in response to those angry with her after saying communicating with Jesus is a quote-unquote mental illness during a February 13th episode of The View when discussing Pence's faith.
Right, but good for her that she apologized, right? She also called him first privately by phone, and then he urged her to also do this publicly on The View, which she also did, which was very classy of her.
Yeah.
So good for her.
Yeah.
I think the story's over on that. I think that's... So, these things happen in public discourse. There are people of no faith, but there's no need for this mental illness talk. But then she apologized. So I think that everybody can be satisfied, as is Mike Pence. He
Yeah.
said, my faith dictates to me to forgive her, and I
Right.
do.
Mm-hmm.
And then that guy from Fox News, I think it's Sean
Right.
Hannity, he's like, oh no, I'm not ready to forgive.
Mm-hmm.
But Mike Pence
Oh,
looks a
Sean.
lot better in this. Oh, Sean.
Just say, oh, Sean.
Oh, Sean.
Yes.
All right, moving on.
Finally, in fashion news, another epidemic warning.
All right, this is what we've all been waiting for, Rob.
Indeed. Here in Vienna, men wearing jackets and windbreakers with bright prints slathered all over them.
Do you have a picture of this for us?
We do indeed.
Ugh. Gentlemen,
Yeah.
yikes.
Mm-hmm.
No need for that.
We have yet to know where this outbreak stems from, but we can only hope to be part of the cure. Solid colors on your jackets, guys. Come on.
Solid colors. All right, look what Rob wears.
Yes.
This is why he's come so far.
Yeah.
All right, solid colors. This, you have to dress like the job that you want to get. Is that what they say?
Yes.
And they're not going to let you in anywhere with a jacket with some kind of a print on it.
No.
When did guys start wearing windbreakers and jackets with anything printed on them?
It's like it crept in. I have no idea when this started.
It's all over the place here in Vienna.
Yeah.
So the thought for the week, everybody, in order for us to carry on with Lent
Yes.
in peace, please don't wear these jackets.
No.
It's you're gonna look like your girlfriend, you know. There, get a his and hers.
Yeah.
That's not appropriate.
No.
Was that a sexist comment? Probably. Anyway,
A reasonable
moral
comment.
of the story: don't wear it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it for today, right?
That is.
Sign up to the podcasts. Get the ebook. We
Mm-hmm.
have a new ebook, Reflections for Every Day of Lent.
Yes.
It's called Lent with Sister Vassa. Look for it on Amazon.com.
Mm-hmm.
Get that. And if you don't want to get that, we can't see why not, right? Do subscribe to our audio podcast because we're having a lot of fun. A lot of people are doing it. Sign up, become a subscriber, and you also help our online mission. But the main thing is you will love it.
Yes, you will.
Going through Lent together, everything is explained, and so on. All right, we have to say goodbye. You want to say goodbye first, Rob?
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you very much.
And I'm saying goodbye. We will see you next Saturday.